Hello, my name is Father Gregory Pine, and I'm a Dominican friar of the province of St. Joseph, and I am assigned at the University of Freiburg in Freiburg, Switzerland, where I am a doctoral candidate in dogmatic theology, and I am studying the Christology of St. Thomas Aquinas. Apropos of St. Thomas Aquinas, this is Pints with Aquinas. And in this episode of Pints with Aquinas, we're going to talk about the virtue of prudence. Why, you might ask? Well, because prudence is an incredibly interesting virtue. It's also an incredibly practical virtue. And it's also a virtue that we don't talk about too terribly much. And, not incidentally, I just wrote a book about it. So, let's talk about prudence. Okay, so the book is called Prudence, Choose Confidently, Live Boldly. It's published by Our Sunday Visitor. It will be ready to ship on April 18th, 2022, but it is presently ready for pre-order. So you can just head on down to Amazon.com and pre-order yourself a copy of this here new book. It's 160 pages long, and I think the goal was realized, he says in the passive voice, is that those are 160 readable pages. So sometimes I say things and they're a little bit complicated and maybe even a little bit obscure. And that's on me because I could do a better job of understanding them and communicating them. But in this book, through the patient efforts of a few friends and a few editors, I think that it's very readable and I think that it's very true. So this encourages me. The book is 8 chapters long, and the first chapter is about happiness, specifically like how to be happy, or maybe just setting up the question of how to be happy. So yeah, a lot of people have different things as the end of their life, whether that be wealth or power or fame, but just kind of setting forward this idea, setting forward this reality, that in order to be truly happy, we need to have God for the end of our life. Boom. And then the second chapter is about the means that God gives to attain to that end. So he gives us his incarnate Son, he gives us the church, he gives us the sacraments, he gives us grace, virtues, gifts of the Holy Spirit. So just a kind of thumbnail sketch of those things set up within an understanding of creation and redemption. And then the third chapter zooms in or focuses on the life of virtue. So just talking about the different kinds of virtue, like theological virtues and intellectual virtues and moral virtues, so as to situate where the virtue of prudence falls, and then just to kind of introduce the virtue of prudence itself. And then the rest of the book, the remaining 5 chapters, are about prudence. So in chapter 4, just talk a little bit about human action, so the steps that we work through when we perform a human action, and where prudence fits within that framework, and then just to go through the different parts of prudence. So in order to be prudent, for instance, you need to have a memory of past experiences that you can draw from. Or, in order to be prudent, you need to be open to receiving the counsel of people who are wiser than you. Things like that. So just going through those different parts. And then chapter 5 discusses how prudence talks to the moral virtues. So prudence isn't just about thinking well or right. It's about thinking in such a way that you desire in accord with that thinking. What's a more straightforward way of saying that? Prudence isn't just about the intellectual sphere. It engages with the volitional, it engages with the emotional. And so it requires that you get put back together again in order for it to come off. So that's just a little description there in chapter 5 about prudence and the appetites. And then chapters 6, 7, and 8 are the point of the book, right? And they're called, Am I Bold? Am I Certain? Am I Confident? And the idea is that prudence empowers us to live our lives well, genuinely well. And I think that that's often underappreciated, that it's possible to live this human life, albeit, with the experience of difficulty, with the experience of trial, with the experience of sorrow, but to genuinely live it well and on the way towards better, which is to say, deeper and deeper into the heart of God. Because I think sometimes when making decisions, and that's really where the book focuses, on making decisions, we just get overwhelmed by options, or we just get thrown for a loop when we think about the consequences which may arise if we choose poorly, or we put too much pressure on ourselves, or we put too little pressure on ourselves, or whatever it may be. We have a way of complicating this process of making decisions. And prudence holds the key to making decisions in a way that's bold, that's certain, and that's confident. And so that's really the image, or that's really the vision which the book proposes. And I think it's true. I think it's good. I think it's beautiful. And I think you'll find it helpful. So hopefully it generates some interesting discussions among you, your friends, your family, and then maybe we can bring those questions back to the channel and chat them through if you have problems that you want to sort or if you have follow-ups that you want to pursue. So yeah, that's the book. Another look, here we go. It's called Prudence, Choose Confidently, Live Boldly. It's available to ship on April 18th, but it's available for pre-order now from Our Sunday Visitor. And I know that it's on Amazon. I imagine that it's in other places, but I haven't yet inquired into those other places. So boom. All right. This is Pints with Aquinas. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the channel and push the bell so that way you get emails with updates on things that go live on the channel or things that get posted on the channel so that nothing falls through the cracks. And then if you haven't yet, please do check out Godsplaining, which is a podcast of the Dominican Friars of the province of St. Joseph that I contribute to. There are 5 of us who contribute to that podcast, and we just have conversations about all things imaginable, but from a Catholic perspective, to try to help you cast a contemplative gaze on your busy life. So we have Thursday episodes, occasional guest episodes, occasional live streams, and then some meditations on the sacred scriptures on the weekends during penitential seasons. Also, for Godsplaining, we're having retreats this summer. So we have an all-comers retreat, and we have a young adults retreat, and then we have a young men's wilderness retreat in July and in August. A couple in New York, one in North Carolina. So check out godsplaining.org for information on those good opportunities so you can apply there, and we'll hope to see you over the summer. All right, that's all from me. So my prayers are for you. Please pray for me, and I will catch you next time on Pints with Aquinas.